No.
Yeah.
So we gotta go like right now, but I'm fine. No, but seriously, nothing ever plans out to be what you want. And I have a problem with setting myself up for failure. Ooh. Failure.
Yeah.
Telling myself in my head, this is how this is going to go. Whether it's with a friend, I might think that you're going to say something or do something, and then you don't do it the way that I thought you were going to do it, and then I'm like pissed. But it's my fault. It's stuff that I create in my head, make my own sadness, anxiety, all of it. It's just all messed up.
So if you could give advice to somebody who was younger than you, kind of coming up into the parts of the anxiety that start to really grow when you realize life is not what it was supposed to be, and there's not much you can do to change it, like, from your perspective, because I'm gonna go around with everybody and how you give your perspective, because I think we're all on different levels with that, and like just say, like, because I feel like people need some hope. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are ending their lives over the feeling that you're having right now.
Right. No,
you know, so it's like
in dark places.
Right, and
right.
you got to tell people, like, people need to hear it's not the end of the tunnel, and you.
No.
So what's your advice?
Ooh. I mean, I'm still trying to give myself advice to this day, but really just taking it day by day and not overwhelming myself with thinking and trying to make something that I can't make happen in a day. As far as, like I said, I want to have kids, I want to be married, I want this, I want that, I want this. I try to take it day by day and make every day the best that I can. Not wake up and be consumed in my thoughts and look at myself in the mirror and think bad about myself. I try to look at myself and say something positive, because that was something that I struggle with as I look in the mirror. And
I think most
and it helps your day too.
Yeah.
Each day, if you're thinking positive,
right,
and kind of not really forcing yourself, but kind of like thinking happy thoughts to make yourself smile.
I think us as
makes your day better.
women, we tear ourselves apart, no matter what size or anything.
Oh, yeah.
I thought losing weight would totally make myself feel good, and I feel the same.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So I've told myself that it's not the weight, it's who I am, and I've got to love myself inside of me, not how I look, not the image. But growing up in society, you feel like you have to be this certain image to feel good, because that's what you think everybody likes.
Well, it's put out there for you constantly.
Right.
And, like, that's what our kids...
It's gotten better.
Everywhere. Like,
it's gotten better. You see all these really cool, bigger, plus-size women, and it makes me feel...
It is changing.
I love it.
Yeah.
But
realizing that men love, like, a certain shape of a woman...
Right, yeah.
No. It shocked me in a good way. Because for me, I was like you. I always thought that I had to be a twig.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought that any kind of pudge on my body anywhere was immediately going to be disgusting. Right. I thought I would be repulsive. Really, I did. And I always got with the wrong guys because of that. Because I went after guys that felt that way. And so they would treat me repulsively. And I was skinny as a twig back then. But then I grew up and I got over it. And I started to realize, like, dating real men who adored me exactly the way I am.
Flaws of their own, and they know
and it's just like, and it becomes
the crazy
so
thing is, and you'll realize, but men are the same way women are.
Oh, they are. That's why I think men should listen to this. I feel like they would be like, damn, I think that every day. Like, whoa, it's not just me.
Yeah, I married 3 of them.
Yeah.
That's Tara over there.
I gave birth to 1. Sister did 2.
Jerry Springer?
What?
Where's Jerry Springer? What do you mean?
But it's hard to give advice just because everybody is going through their own battles.
Well, that's
at
least you
but mine is try to take it day by day. And get through each day and make it as positive
Everybody's
as possible.
nodding their head because I feel like we all agree. We're all, again, at different levels, but it's like the exact same thing. It's like, don't give up. If you don't give up, you're going to get through it. And
you can't win if you're not here to fight.
Fight. Like, I don't care how low you are.
A breath, you have
another chance
at winning.
Yeah.
Right, and you only have one life.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it is sad to think about those girls or those guys or whoever that just decide they can't do it anymore.
And either take their own life or take someone else's.
Yeah. Well, the sad thing is the ones that take their own life stress the most about living a long life.
And it is stressful.
It's crazy. A 10-year-old little boy just hung himself and killed himself this week because of bullying.
It's horrible.
My friend Brianna, since I was in early middle school, daughter's father just hung himself Tuesday. They pulled the plug on him yesterday. He's donating organs yesterday and today.
I'm so scared. Like, when I do have children for school, because kids are mean as shit.
At homeschool.
They are so mean.
So my like thing with that is like I was terrified for a little bit when like especially the younger years I think are harder, but once they start to be able to communicate, like my son has done such a good job at kind of not just protecting other kids, but like not instigating fights. So like, Mom, I'm walking away. And I feel like that's something I've done right. I'm like, listen, not everything's worth fighting over. If someone is literally trying to take your life, you fight like there's nothing left in you. You do whatever you have to do.
Well, you know, with the kids that were throwing rocks at me, my dad told me, he said, Lexi, you take a rock and you throw it right back at them.
Hell
so listen
yes.
to this.
Thanks, Spider-Man Daddy.
Yep. I get thick skin because in that moment, and I'll never forget, it's just like a feeling you get. It's like you feel like you can't do nothing, like you're numb, and these guys have total control over you, and I just let them throw rocks at me until I get home, you know. Well, talking to my dad, you know, he's like, Lexi, just throw a rock at him, and I'm like, I can't, Dad, I can't.
But you have to.
And I did. I grabbed a rock, and I chunked it at this guy at the time. His name was Josh. Couldn't tell you his last name. And I nailed him. I nailed his ass.
Yes.
Well, guess who got in the biggest trouble?
You.
Me.
So what?
My dad walked up to that school and said, you're telling me my daughter is getting whatever suspended
for defending
because
yourself.
she has good aim? Oh, he was pissed. He was pissed. Seriously, and that is what happened.
That's great.
They didn't get in trouble. I did, because he was the one that had the mark.
But you know what? Thank God you gave him that mark, girl.
That's what I know.
Damn.
I know.
That's
that
awesome.
shit stopped after that.
I don't think it stopped, but it definitely deterred him a little bit.
It did to an extent.
Like, hey, some bitches are gonna fight back. Like,
seriously.
That's all I've ever been known for as a child. My parents took me to counseling at 12 years old because I was such an angry child. My temper tantrums involved with me throwing my head through the drywall.
Oh.
Yes.
that's like autistic.
Listen, I've claimed autism. I'm not good at anything but numbers.
Hey,
I'm fucking autistic.
you go, girl.
Where's my social security?
Where's my social security?
I want to hang out with Memo.
This is Tara. If anybody's confused about who is saying this right now.
I ain't autistic, bitch.
Oh, man. So, listen, like, let's talk about something, like, a little more exciting. Because I know, especially Tara, has some different opinions on this, all right? Because, and I'm all about different opinions. I'm not going to say that my opinion is right. Because I don't know that. I don't have the scientific evidence to say that what I think.
Their own.
Well, not their own. I think everything should be tested. I think that everything should be tested, and the one that has the most evidence wins. You can't do that in 20 minutes. Like, that's like there is a real truth, but I can't say mine is right or yours is right until we literally test that out. And that's all about talking. That's how we communicate. Everybody's testing out their different truths. That's not even
resolving the issue at hand because you're able to communicate, and really all you do is you agree to disagree. So nothing's really proven.
I mean, you can do it that way. But for me, I don't agree to disagree. I'm just down to hear what you have to say, and I'm going to go do my own, like, mental research on that until I make a decision. And I take everything that people say to me, and I weigh it out, I test it, I try it.
Right, but does it become a debate later, or do you just use that as your own personal challenge to find the actual...
Well, I either figure out I have enough evidence to disprove what you're saying, or I have enough evidence to prove it. If I have enough evidence to prove it, it becomes a part of who I am and what I believe. So, and I that's my whole process in life. My parents are very strict Christians. They follow a very strict plan. And me, like, my whole life I've said I'm not going to do something just because someone tells me to do it. I want to figure out for myself what is right, and there is a right. But I don't think any of us knows for sure exactly what that is. And
I think it boils down to being morally right.
But you have experience, understanding, and scientific methods tell us that murdering is wrong and that stealing is wrong.
But that's where you have a trial and you present certain evidence because, that man may have stabbed that man, but what happened between the time from A to B causing that to happen? It could have been that man was trying to rob him and he overpowered him and made a poor choice in his victim. You see what I'm saying? So that's where you have a trial and you really determine, just because he's on trial for murder, does that make him a bad person? You don't know the life he was living up to that point. You don't know where he, how he got where he was in that moment to fight for his life to be on trial for murder.
Let's talk about, because we do gotta bring it back, because we were talking about anxiety. Lexi doesn't have any apparently right now. She's over there shaking her booty.
So good.
You said bring it back.
Bring it back, y'all. I know. So, I've been on anxiety medication. Have you?
No,
Becky?
But I felt like for years I've needed to. But I didn't want to be dependent on pills and medication to fix my problem. Because I've dealt with, anxiety attacks. I've been to hospitals because of anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
That's Becky. That's Becky.
Oh, I'm Becky, by the way. Hi. But fresh out of high school, I married my high school sweetheart, and our marriage was bad. It was good at first, but then it got bad. Yeah. And I was even caught where I used to cut my wrist, in high school and stuff like that, because anxiety would take over me. The depression.
Yeah.
My family genes is bad in depression. I went on Lexapro when I was married because anxiety attacks came back. And but yeah, so I got on that and it's helped, but I quit taking it because I seriously told my doctor, my whole family deals with depression and everything. So I'm I don't want to be that sad person just always in my room and depressed all the time. So I force myself to kind of overcome it.
Yeah.
But then certain times it's maybe I should go back on Lexapro. But it's just stress from high school.
You did Lexapro.
Mm-hmm.
I did. Yeah, if you were listening.
I was listening. I'm saying it as you did Lexapro.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is Lexi again. Smartest one here.
Obviously. Stop it. Y'all did 25 years on this hooker.
So you're the oldest bitch here.
That was terrifying. What year were you born, darling?
So what do you know about Lexapro?
Wait, what year were you born?
94.
What do you know about Lexapro?
I was 80. 80. That's 4,004.
So let's just retain control here on this podcast.
Lexapro. I've heard good things.
It's the mild antidepressant.
Yes, I've heard positive things about it though. Do you know I went to therapy 4 times and they said, we're going to recommend you to a psychiatrist. And I said, ooh, I ain't going. I am not. That means that's bad.
Yeah. No, it just means they want
me, yes, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and that's great.
Yeah.
Hey, I've had anxiety to the point where I've been in the hospital. It was 3 or 4 different occasions. 4, I'm pretty sure 4 different occasions. Where when I had an anxiety attack, every time it was around my ex-husband, and he took me to the hospital, and they kept me for 3 days, each time running test after test after test.
Yeah, they did that with me, and they're like, "Oh, it's just anxiety attack," but at the same time, they blow it off it's not that big of a deal.
Well, no, when they come to me, they came to me and said mine were panic attacks.
Yeah.
They said I was having probably the most severe panic attack they had ever seen in their medical history. Every single time I went.
sorry. I'm 12.
So there's a lot of facial expressions being exchanged. I apologize for not being able to communicate it just because...
Well, if you could see us, you would understand.